This is Jackie's Reading Room, and I'm your host, Jackie P. Have you turned some pages today?
How many books do you own? I actually don't think I can answer that. I have just too many. Um, did you know that in 2021, there were 825.75 million printed books sold in the US? This is from Statista.com. I was actually quite impressed with this statistic. It's unbelievable. The industry is doing well. There are books out there, but today's podcast would like to talk about buying versus borrowing. So, what is it that you do yourself? Do you buy the books that you read, or do you borrow them at your local library or from friends? And should we do both? What do I do personally? All these questions and more. And of course, I'll bring in some book titles for you as well. More from that website that I was just telling you about. I guess, did you know that the highest months, I guess the months where the book sales are highest in the US are December and January and August. So it's interesting to note that, well, December, January coincides with the holidays. And it does say that on the website that books make popular holiday gifts. And I'm sure you'll agree with me. I love giving books to people. Actually, I do that in any way I can every maybe not every day, but at least I would say every week. And August coincides, I guess, with back to school, right? A lot of people buy books for obviously for their children to go to school, but also maybe it's time for a new school year. It's time to buy some books. So I thought that was an interesting statistic. Listen, as an avid reader, I've told you this in the first podcast, and those who know me, you know that I'm an avid reader, compulsive book buyer, bookworm, etc. Of course, I love to go to bookstores. Take me to any city and take me to any bookstore, and I'm a happy camper. Now, obviously, you may be stuck there for a while with me, or you might have to just do something else while I browse. I love browsing in bookstores. And you know what I do? Because I cannot possibly buy every single book that I want to read or that I think is has a great cover. I take photos of the book cover because then I can remember that I was interested in that book. So I love to go to bookstores, whether it's in my area here in the Montreal area. When I travel, I love to visit bookstores. You always seem to find a book that you haven't seen. Sometimes also you find books that are very specific to the place. I remember a few years back, actually, that was a few years back. I went to Denver, Colorado, and I went into this really cute little bookstore. And I got this book called I Live in Denver, and it was a picture book for kids. So I think I bought it for me, but under the disguise that it was for my kids. But really, I just it's really just for me. And the book really tells the story of Denver. So I thought it was really cleverly done, beautifully illustrated. So you find all kinds of cool things. So I love to browse. I love buying books, obviously. I don't have a yearly budget to buy books. I don't think I should. I don't want to have a budget for buying books, but I do have two personal rules that I set for myself because you have to have kind of a gauge here. Otherwise, I could be spending a lot more money on books. So my two rules are: I usually try to stay away from hardcover books when I buy them, unless I'm in a book sale and the book is already $3. Then and I really want to get that book. Okay. Otherwise, I prefer paperbacks or softcover books. And I try to stick to that rule. And the other rule is the book has to be below $20. I'm actually very good at finding deals. In thrift stores, you can find books for $3, $2 to $3. So if I can do that, I do that. Obviously, sometimes I do want to buy like a new book, but once again, I tried to think, okay, is this soft cover below $20? If the answer is yes, I will treat myself once in a while. But there's another thing as well. As much as I love to go to bookstores, love to go to the library, um, because for me, there's nothing better than having access to free books. It's just amazing. I've been going to the library since as long as I can remember. When I was a kid, I went to the library, I would say at least every 2 to 3 weeks to replace the 6, 8, 10 books I had borrowed the 2 weeks before. So I've always been, as I was saying in the first podcast, that I've always been a reader, and I've always gone to the library. Now, when the pandemic hit and the libraries were closed, it was a kind of a very dramatic moment for me. Um, did you know that there are 320,000 public libraries in the world? They, and I quote, have always been at the heart of the communities they serve. This is from the British Council.org. It's actually an article called "Why Do We Still Need Public Libraries in the Digital Age?" And this is from 2014. I'm going to tell you why. I think public libraries, they are not just a place for you to get books and then go home and read them. They are a place of gathering. It's a place that basically does not discriminate, right? Because anyone can walk into a library, get a library card, of course, if they are a resident of the place, borrow some books. They can borrow some audiobooks, books in braille, large print, children's books, fiction, nonfiction. It's access to all, really. And even, as I was saying before, even during the pandemic, you could have access to books. You just had to like reserve the books and then you pick them up at the entrance. I did a lot of that, as you can imagine. Um, Obviously, there's a lot more to, as I was saying, just um, offering books, magazines. There are a lot of services in libraries as well for children, for the elderly, for newcomers to a country, and so on. There are also events and activities. I know that in the Montreal area here, they have a summer reading club for kids. There's also a program in the Montreal Public Libraries that's called Une naissance, un livre, which means literally one birth, one book. So, for example, that would be a really nice present. So you have a friend who is a new mom. You could go to the library and get like a library card for the child, and it comes with a little package, of welcoming the child to the library. It's a great gift, I believe, to start your life with free access to books. Obviously, it's not the same everywhere in the world, right? I am very privileged here. I grew up in Canada, and I would imagine that in most places in our country, now I could do more research on that, people have access to free books in libraries, but and services and so on, right? But depends on where you are in the world. Another way that you can get free books, you may have seen those around you, those little free libraries that basically look like little boxes, and they have different shapes and colors that are placed in different areas of different communities. And you can take a book and leave one, right? I have a little free library in front of my house. I also just recently sponsored a new one right behind the college where I teach. And this is one of the things I love the most. I believe in the first podcast, I said that one of the things I love the most is to talk about books. And then the something else that I also really like is to give books to people. Really. So in this case, it's sharing books with strangers, but in my local community, so that um, they they can also read. And whether that's children, elderly people, teenagers, and so on. Listen, I'm reading this book right now. It's called Bibliotech, and it is written by John Palfrey, and this is from 2015. Now, the subtitle for this book is "Why Libraries Matter More Than Ever in the Age of Google." So I think it's extremely relevant that we talk about this today, because some people might say, "Ah, but why do we need libraries? We have everything we need. You can go on Google, find out what you want." It's true, but to me, first of all, nothing compares flipping through a physical book. And in my case at home, I find, and even for my students at work, I find that giving books, physical books to people, takes them away from the screens. And if I can do my part in doing that a little bit, well, that would be good. So, in that book, Bibliotech, I just want to read you a little quote that says here, it's on page 11: "Physical libraries have never been more vital, interesting, useful places. The people who work in libraries are helping other people make sense of the overwhelming mass of information online and making it immediately relevant to their lives." I could not agree more. It's, as I said, a library today is not just a quiet place for you to read. It's so much more than that. And I think even more today, we need to keep funding the libraries around us, because they are essential for the tapestry of our communities. I think it's excellent. It's not only excellent, it's essential as far as I'm concerned. And just like I love to visit bookstores, I love visiting libraries. As a matter of fact, I've put it on my list of things to do in the near future. I want to go visit the first North American public library, which is the Boston Public Library. It's still there, so I don't totally want to go and visit that. Listen, to wrap up, I wanted to give you one more title. Obviously, because writers enjoy books and reading, many books out there feature bookstores and libraries. As you can imagine, you've got your bookstore owner who goes through this or that. um, One book that I read recently takes place in a very famous library. So the book is called The Personal Librarian, and it was written by Mary Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray, and it's a historical fiction title. The story takes place, it's actually the story of JP Morgan's personal librarian, who was named Belle DaCosta Green. She was a black woman who whose skin was light enough that she could pass for white, but she had to do this in order to have that job. And she had to pretend that her um, I guess her background was Portuguese and not black, obviously, so that she could um, be the librarian. And she was instrumental in finding very rare books, and it's still there today in New York City. J.P. Morgan Library, also on my list of places to visit. As you can imagine, um, being surrounded by books, for me, there's nothing quite like it. You should try it. Go to your local library, or the next time that you travel, you see a bookstore or library, just go there and soak in the atmosphere. I think there's nothing quite like it. And maybe you could buy or borrow a book. Should you do both? Absolutely. If your budget is tight, you can always borrow a book. You can ask a friend. Check out the little free library, maybe in your community, and get reading. Take care, and I'll see you soon.